very last live stream of the night, and probably the last one of the series. I know I said that two parts ago, but I can feel it. Like this really is gonna be the last. But if it's not, it's not. Which, if it's not, who knows? There might be 4 more. Maybe there might be 8 more. Because with the Bennett, we have to. We have to complete as well.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. Ah, and the wayward doctor. Are you about done with your escapades? We have faces that need lifting, after all.
These days, I'm more interested in breaking them. Wouldn't mind taking a swing at yours.
Ah, I knew I smelled Monarch when you lot walked in. The stench of sulfur, depression, and desperate bravado is unmistakable.
Keep talking, and you'll be smelling iron. Ain't nobody so important I won't put a bullet in him.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens. My word! You've correctly identified the most recognizable man in the colony. Remarkable. It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's our insane person now. A proper company man.
Please, Phineas would rather die than cooperate.
Yes, he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow, isn't he? Fine, he isn't working for us per se. Semantics, he'll come around. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle.
That crackpot is saving the frozen colonists you gave up on.
Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our starvation problems. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but it's done. It's over. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our entire society?
At least that means someone's recognizing our work.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. You're just getting in the way.
First, let's see, I wouldn't have had. First off, yes, I wouldn't have to I wouldn't have to if you'd be more cooperative about all this. Plus, the thought honestly hadn't crossed my mind. I'm just trying to help. Also, there's third option. You'd prefer to keep riding this downward spiral? I can fix this. No.
If I and my people can ride it out in luxury and happiness, yes, I would. I don't know if you've noticed, Captain, but Halcyon's pretty much a lost cause.
Oh,
We'll have to agree to disagree on that one, Captain. Now, if you don't mind, I have to finish prepping this script.
I could just shoot you. Right?
I've got work to do.
Pause and read. Is this all this? This is all the same thing. Can I shoot you? I want to shoot him. Can I shoot him? Is that possible? Would it be possible to shoot him? Should I shoot him? I mean, my temperament is pretty crap, but, you know, whatever. What's this guy doing down here? Why is he... Wait. Wait. What? Oh, I'm on the other side. I'm on the side where that I couldn't get to. Yeah, I'm on the side that I couldn't get to. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. I want to shoot him. I want him to kill him.
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So get in there and fight.
Well, I fucked up. Hey. Since it surprisingly remembered my quick save, which is all that I can do is quick save. Oh, it remembered my autosave too. What am I oh. Oh, I'm on the other side of the iconoclast. That's cool. Oh. Glad I came down. Glad it didn't work out because yeah, I would have missed that. Now I need to go back up here. Alright.
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So get in there and fight.
That's the last of them.
No prisoners! I'll take this one! I'm taking one!
I didn't really need to do much. They kind of look like the MSI soldiers, but hey, whatever.
Something's... Take him down!
Here they come.
This is a very strong, surprisingly strong weapon. Oh, Grim? Oh. I'm sorry, buddy. That's sad. I'm sorry. I just went around in a very circle. Well, I'm glad I helped him out. I'm sorry that he died, but at least he died for a noble cause, which is
Guess this is it, huh?
Take a breath now, folks. Once we're up there, I suspect we ain't gonna have time to stop shooting.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. I'm afraid I can't do that. To your credit, Captain, you are one of the colony's finest specialists. Your technical abilities are beyond reproach. For all your talents, You are the enemy of Halcyon, and therefore you are my enemy. I have no intention of dying on Tartarus, Captain.
Oh, you're
Not when
good.
there's so much work left to do. I admit I miscalculated the extent of your influence. The board's plan never accounted for you. This is a mistake I intend to correct.
Oh, you're
I have
gonna
Dr.
die.
Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I can repair the damage you've done. I can set things right. I'm aware of your propensity for violence. Halcyon is a bloodier place because of you. I take no pleasure in this, you know. I simply have no other option.
Oh, you could stay.
Leaving you alive is too great a risk. Goodbye, Captain. I had a feeling you'd say that. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down a drain. And don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically or something.
Right. Thank you for the warning. I know what to look for now. Should have brought Sam. Oh, you know what? I'm doing. I'm gonna fucking. Where'd it go? So, kill me on sight, she said. Right. That wasn't much of a fight, but, you know, whatever. I'm not complaining. Right. I do need ammunition, so you know, there's that. I am currently out of ammunition, but I've got plenty of this heavy.
Why won't you just jump? Hold that, Captain!
Get me out of here!
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough. I'm all right, thanks to you. Akande wanted my cooperation. I'm quite sure she would have beaten it out of me if you hadn't arrived. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
They haven't exactly been hands-on around here anyway. So there's one less rubber stamp to worry about.
Earth is humanity's home planet, Miss Fenhill. The psychological effects of losing our original home will be devastating.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed, including me. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds, and then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us? When I revived you, I thought you were going to help me save this colony. I was wrong. I had our roles reversed, you see. You're the one who's going to save us all. I'm just the one who set you on your path. You're the best thing to ever happen to Halcyon. If you want to take it upon yourself to lead this colony, you have my support. We're not a colony any longer, are we? Our last connection to Earth has been severed, and so we have been set free. Our future is uncertain, and no one knows what tomorrow holds. Exciting, isn't it?
I don't really want to be chairman. I don't want to be the leader.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Between MSI's worker-centric policies and the iconoclast's manpower, Sanjar and Zora were able to rally many of the Terra 2 townships to their cause. MSI's workforce swelled, and the iconoclasts enjoyed a significant surge in their ranks. The board was too distracted by infighting and internal politics to stop MSI from becoming a powerful corporation and a refuge for townships that might have fallen through the cracks. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family together. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the Lifetime Employment Program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name, and in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past, and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you? The unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon. Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
That was I felt bad for Felix, you know, like we recruited Felix on the Groundbreaker, and he joined up hoping for a rebellion, which there kind of was a rebellion, but it wasn't quite like he imagined, and he ended up working, which was kind of sad. I wanted to take Parvati and Felix with me, but I never did because you know, like I pointed out, you know, like I pointed out, both excuse me, both Ellie and Nyoka were the strongest people, I mean people, in the crew. You know? Sam alone is equally as strong as both Ellie and Nyoka combined. But unfortunately, Sam alone, if I need, you know, 100 hacking, I can't have that. I needed max, you know. If something needed, if my science was too low, you know, I needed both. I couldn't just have Sam alone. I needed both Sam and Max. If I wanted to intimidate, you know, and I needed 100% intimidation, I needed both Sam and Max. You know, I could never have just. I could never just have one or the other, and that was just, you know, that was the thing, you know, but near the end, you know, near the end, you know, near the end, I didn't need as much science. I mean, the only thing that the only time science really was handy was if I had science weapons. You know, like if I were to use science weapons, and if I were to go this, my plan was to go this science, you know, kind of lean towards my plan was to go more towards science, so I could like use science weapons and, you know, have a better time using science weapons. But, you know, in the end, you know, in the end, I never did really use. I mean, I only used the glue gun. I only used the goop gun, the goop launcher. Just that was like literally the only science weapon I ever used, and it was, you know, it was very effective. It was very effective and surprisingly had great range. You know, I didn't have. It wasn't like a grenade launcher where I actually had to aim up high just to to shoot it, you know. You know, and you know, so that, you know, that being said, like, I I mean, the group launcher, you know, or whatever it's called, um, it was like, it was very, very handy in a lot of situations. It wasn't just handy for crowd control. It was handy for, I mean, as you saw near the end, it was handy for that fight with the auto mechanic. Like, because it had a shield, so, you know, you did less damage from the front, which means you had to get behind it. And, you know, like, you know, like I said, my original plan was to go the science route, but I never did go the science route because because what ended up happening was I ended up being the jack of all trades. That's what I ended up being. I ended up being the jack of all trades. You know, I basically had like 50 levels and everything. You know, I basically had 50 levels in close combat, range, defense, tech, dialogue, leadership, um, stealth. You know, I had that. You know, that's what I had. You know, that's how it was. You know, and you know, um, I it just, I never played Pearl on Gorgon. I never even bought it. I don't know why it's telling me you know, the development team for Pearl on Gorgon, but I think that might be the next one that I might stream, Pearl on Gorgon. But like, you know, like I said, if I ever play this game again, it's if I play this game again, um, I'm not gonna be streaming it. I'm going to be playing it on my own. And I'm going to do things a little bit, you know, might do some things a little bit differently. You know, I'm probably not gonna be, I'm definitely probably most likely not going to be using laser flyer for the you know, I'm not going to be using laser flyer um, for uh, um, the DLC. I'm gonna be making a different. If I do play the DLC, I will make a different. I'm going to be making a different character because the thing of it is Laser Flyer's story is done. His story is done, and and yeah, so his story is done. So there, therefore, yeah. But yeah, yeah. Uh, I don't know. Um, uh, yeah. Like I said, like I said, uh, um, crap. Yes, I can't think right now. I'm having a brain, just a brain fart right now. I'm, it's 11:21 where I'm at. So, you know. Oh yeah, so without Sam and Max, there were a lot of things that there were a lot of people that could have been intimidated, but I couldn't intimidate them because I I didn't bring Sam and Max with me. There were a lot of things that could have been hacked, and some of it I couldn't hack without bringing Sam and Max with me. There was a lot of sciencey things that I could have used both Sam and Max, and needed Sam and Max. Um, I wanted to bring. Now, originally, I wanted to bring Parvati and Felix because at the end I wanted to bring them because there were a lot of things. There was a lot of things that required. Uh, there wasn't a lot of things that required engineering, but there was a lot of things that required lock. Uh, there was a lot of things that required lockpicking. And not Sam, and Parvati and Felix are the only two that know how to pick locks. And yeah, I had the lock picking helmet, which helped me with blocks. But the the problem was, you know, my skill for my lock picking skill, it wasn't, my lock picking skill was pretty crappy. My hacking in science was all is all pretty crappy, and my dialogue skill was pretty crappy. Everything was pretty crappy, and that's you know the tech suit. Okay, yeah, the tech suit. That was not the tech suit, the hibernation suit. That was basically the only suit that gave me tech skill. It gave me a total of plus 10 tech skills, which was something. You know, and there's so many things that I could have done differently. Um, there were so many things that I could have done differently. Some things I wish I did differently. But next time, if I do play it again, I'm gonna play it on my own, and try to see if there's better ways about it, and so yeah, so um, Laser Flyers, his story is done. Yeah, his story is done. There's no more um to his story, and Um, there's no more to his story. His story is done. His story has been told. Um, so the next time I play, if I now, like I said, if I were to ever stream this again, it will only be for the DLC, such as Pearl on Gorgon and Murder on Eridos, and that's it. That's it. It would only be for that. It won't be for anything else. There won't be anything else if I'm streaming. And I'm not gonna, I'll download Pearl on Gorgon first, and then do that, and then I'll download Murder on Eridanos after I beat the Pearl on Gorgon DLC. But as far as the game itself goes, yes, as far as the game itself goes, I'm not going to be I'm not going to play Laser Flyer's story again. I'm not gonna do it. As far as Laser Flyer's story goes, his story is done. So if I do the DLC, I will make a new character just for the DLC, yeah. But now I will I might play this game again by myself without the DLC, because I know there are things that I missed that I didn't get the last time when I played through. So there is that, and there are just things that I didn't do, that I could have done, that I should have done. But if I did do them, it may have made the game longer, and I've already made 36. I already have 36 parts to this series. I mean, unfortunately, I did not get to do. I wanted to do more parts to this series, but unfortunately, I didn't get to do. I didn't get to do that, and so that being said, that being said, I'm extremely sad now that the game is over. I do feel bad. I felt bad for killing all the people in those tubes, but it had to be done. It had to be done because I needed, and I needed the stuff to revive all the people on the Hope. So it had to be done. And the other thing is, the other thing is, I felt bad for not bringing Felix. I mean, I didn't, I wanted to bring Felix, but the problem was that, well, yeah, no, I wanted to bring Felix. But the problem was that even if I gave him like the best armor in the game, that was perfect. That's perfect for a character like Felix. There was just so much. It's just he was not one of Felix and Parvati. Unfortunately, like I said, they're not the strongest characters. In my honest opinion, the strongest characters were Ellie and Nyoka. Unfortunately, Ellie and Nyoka were the strongest characters in the game. Well, correction, they were the strongest human characters in the game. But Sam alone, he's equally as strong as both Ellie and Nyoka, but alone he can't give me the hacking that I need, and he can't get me the science that I need, and he can't get me the intimidation that I need. Same thing with same thing with the same thing um with Vicar Max. Vicar Max, alone, he's not strong by, he's not like Sam or Nyoka or Ellie. He's not as strong as they are. I mean, he's strong, but he's not as strong as they are. But he alone can't get me the science that I need. He alone can't get me the hacking skill that I need. He alone can't get me the imitation, the intimidation that I need. And so you have to have both Sam and you have to have both Sam and Max. Have to have both of them, and it's like you can't have one or the other, or you can't just have one of them. You have to have both of them. But for the most part, you didn't really need science. I mean, for the most part, you didn't really need a whole lot of hacking. For the most part, you probably needed more science than you did. For the most part, you probably need more science than hacking. But I mean, yeah, for the most part, you need more science than hacking because if you're gonna use science, science weapons, you need a lot of science, and therefore having both of them in your group, having both of them in your party, the people that you're gonna take out, it's like it's up there, and that's good, and that's more or less, that's more or less what I want. And unfortunately, And unfortunately, if you want to bring other characters, such as like Parvati and Felix, Parvati and Felix, they were good for persuading people. They were good for, they were good for picking locks, and without um, without that, without those skills, I couldn't, without their lock picking skills, I couldn't get through a lot of the doors. A lot of the doors and chests I couldn't do because I didn't have them with me. And Mioka and Mioka or Ellie and Mioka, they're great to have. I mean, if you bring Ellie, you gotta bring Mioka because you bring Ellie and Mioka, they're. I mean, Mioka has engineering, which she would do good with Parvati, but there's not a whole lot of time. There really wasn't a whole lot of times where you actually really needed engineering, but Ellie and Mioka, they had a lot more in common with each other, Um, Mioka or Mioka was a lot, she was really good at lying, and Ellie was also pretty good at, really good at lying, and combined their lying with yours, really actually, really did help a whole lot, and that is, that is just something that I honestly could honestly say, and the other thing that both Mioka and Ellie had in common was they had medical stuff. You didn't really need. There wasn't really a whole lot of like options where medical was really honestly needed, but in my honest opinion, if you want engineering, if you want more engineering skill, Nioka and Parvati, good to go. You wanted more sneaking skill, Felix and Mioka would great team. If you wanted more medical, then if you wanted more medical, then Mioka and Nioka was not an engineer. Nioka was her skills were lie, medical, and sneak. Those were her skills. So if you wanted better lying, you would take. If you wanted better lying, you would take. You would take Ellie and Mioka. If you wanted better, if you wanted better medical, you would take both Ellie and Nioka. If you wanted better sneak, you would take you would take Felix and Nioka. Um, you know, if you wanted better engineering, you would take Ellie and Parvati. You know, if you wanted, you know, no, that's it. That's it. You know, that was it for Ellie, because most of her skills, you know, because her medical skill, you know, it went with Nyoka. Her lying skill went with Nyoka. So if you wanted better engineering, you would take both Ellie and Parvati, you know. Um, if you wanted more if you wanted more persuasion, you would take both. If you wanted more persuasion, you would take both Felix and Parvati. If you wanted more lockpicking, again, you would take both Felix and Parvati. You wouldn't take Max or Sam with those four people, because Max and Sam, you know, they had the same skills: intimidation, science, and hacking, and that was it. You know, they didn't have they were, you know, they were the intimidating tech. You know, they were the intimidating tech team, basically. They were the intimidating hack and science team, you could say. And like I said, you know, like, you didn't really need a whole lot of hacking. You didn't really need a whole lot of science. And you didn't really need a whole lot of intimidating. I mean, you know, that was part of the reason why I never took them, because you didn't really need a whole lot. You know, I mean, occasionally you'd come across somebody that could only be intimidated, in which you needed both of them. You know, and it was just, yeah, you know, it was just something that you did. So, you know, I never really needed, you know, them for much of anything, really. I mean, the people that I needed the people that I needed more than anything was unfortunately Parvati and Felix, because, you know, most people you can use persuasion with both Parvati and Felix. And you know, like I said, there was a lot of things that needed to be pick lock or lock pick. There were a lot of things that needed lock picking. A lot of things needed lock picking. In fact, most things in the game needed lock picking than hacking. So, you know, lockpicking really is probably, lockpicking is probably more useful in the game than anything else. I mean, medical, you do need quite a bit of medical. You probably need 50 medical. You probably don't need any more than 50 medical. Dialogue. Dialogue. You need a lot of dialogue for everything. You're probably best off. See, you're probably best off maxing out your dialogue skills, all of your dialogue skills. You know, persuasion, intimidation, and lying. You know, and you're probably best off. You're probably best off also maxing out. Lockpicking. And you're also definitely better off, you know, maxing out, definitely science. I mean, definitely science. Science is definitely one of the things that you should probably, you know, put your time, you know, put the time in. Hacking, okay, hacking is pretty useful. I mean, most things, you know, like I said, I ended up being the jack of Laser Flyer ended up being the jack of all trades, basically. He seemed to be 50-50 in pretty much almost everything. You know, pretty much almost everything. But science and picklocking or lockpicking. Science and lockpicking seem to be the most useful. Hacking and engineering and determination and leadership and all of those other things, you know, they didn't really seem to be that important. I mean, they were pretty important. I mean, as you saw, like I beat the game with like most of everything being at level 50, level 50. I mean, my dialogue definitely, that is, your dialogue is something definitely you should put a lot of focus in. You should definitely put a lot of focus in your dialogue skill, and you should also definitely put a lot of skill into science, a lot of skill into lockpicking. You don't really, I mean, you do need at least, I mean, as far as hacking go, most things required either level 5 hacking or level 10 hacking. You didn't, there wasn't a whole lot of things that required a whole lot of hacking, and as you saw, my hacking level at the end was, at the end it was level 50, and the only time I ever needed Sam and Max was not for hacking, it was for intimidating, and that was it. But science is, science is one of those things that should definitely be, it should definitely be up there. It should definitely be, you should definitely focus on science. And probably, science is probably definitely something that you should probably focus on more than anything. And then also focus on picking locks, lock picking, focus on lock picking, focus on dialogue, all the dialogue, from persuasion to intimidation to lie, you want it all the dialogue. You want all of your dialogue options to be at max, because there's a lot of times where I couldn't, there was a lot of times where even if I had gear that gave me, overall better better dialogue skills, there was a lot of times where I could not intimidate people. There were a lot of times where I could not lie to people. There were a lot of times where I couldn't persuade anybody because my dialogue skills were just down the toilet, they were just crap. And that's not okay with me. It just, no. I mean, you can get away with having level 50 for close combat. You can get away with having level 50 for ranged combat. You can get away with having level 50 of defense. You can get away with level 50 in leadership, which is determination and independence, I guess it was, or maybe it was temperament. I don't remember what skills were in leadership. But you could get away with level 50 in most things, but the things that you need, the one thing that you need more than anything, you need 100%. You don't need all tech skills to be at 50%. You need a lot of, and you don't need a lot of stealth. You don't need a lot of all stealth skills to be at 50%, and you don't need all tech skills to be at 50%. You can go through the game. You could go through the game with most of everything being at 50 and some things being at 60. But you need to, like I said, you need to max out. You need to max out all your dialogue skills, persuasion, lying, and intimidation, and you need to max out your lockpicking skills. You need to max out your science skills, and that's more or less really all you need to do. And you really honestly don't need to, you honestly really don't need to max really a whole lot out. It's very handy. It is very handy, in my opinion. Very handy to have a lot of things at level 50. But that's more or less, that's more or less, the truth of it. You don't need anything. Well, you don't really need a lot of skills to be maxed out, but you know, um, having those skills maxed out can and does and really really will help you along the way. And I know in other in the DLCs you might need a lot of medical and a lot of engineering, a lot of everything else. But I think I think if I ever play this again, I will, and I probably will play this game again, but I'll play it again by myself without streaming, without you guys watching, and I'll just do it on. I'll just I'll just figure out what it is that is I think is in and what I think is better, melee or shooty bang bang. I mean, I like shooty bang bang. Shooty bang bang is that's where it's at. Long range is definitely where it's at. I'm not the kind of person to get up close and personal. Like I like to be, I like to be from afar. But anyways, it's almost midnight here. And I've been talking a lot. So, thanks so much for joining me on the stream. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for staying with me for this long. I mean, 36 streams. 36 streams. That's a lot of streams. And, I mean, I probably would have gotten 36 streams anyway. I probably would have gotten 36 streams anyways. If I did one stream a week, if I did one stream a week, I probably would have gotten to 36 as well. I probably would have still gotten to 36. Maybe even less, maybe even 35 streams. Because if I had done, if I had done the stream, if I had done the 1 week streams, most of my streams would have probably been no more than 2 hours long. And I mean, what was messed up is some of the missions were 2 hours long. So, some of the missions were just way too long. Took forever. I mean, even this last mission where I thought I had to kill the chairman, but I didn't. I guess I could have killed the chairman if I really wanted to, but there kind of was no point. But anyways, thank you for watching all 36 streams. If you saw all 36 streams, thank you for joining me. And also, if you like what you saw, you like what you see, you like what you hear, let me know. You know, you don't have to subscribe. You don't have to follow me. You can, you can get in my chat and just chat away and say, hey, we like what you do. And if you guys have any, guys and girls, if you guys and gals have any suggestions on what you want me to play or what you think I should play, I'll play it. I'll be happy to. You know, and you know, Monday, Tuesday, I mean, I made my 6 stream goal today. I was trying to do, I tried to do that for like the past couple of days, but I never got around to it because it ended up becoming too late. I ended up passing out half the time and being way too fucking tired. Anyways, I'm just rambling. If you're still listening to this ramble, thank you. But you don't have to. Anyways, this is it. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. Again, please, do not be shy. Tell me if you want, and if there's a game that you want to see, please tell me, and I'll be happy to. And even if I don't have it, I'll get it. I'll get it, and I'll stream it. Maybe I might just simply record it on YouTube. But anyways, have a good night. All right. See you next stream, if there ever is, and I hope there will, because I enjoy doing this. Alright, bye, and good night, or good morning, good day. Alright, have a nice night.